He has added so much value to my life, not just on the business side, but on the relationship and family side. Being in a new marriage, newlywed, we're still less than a year in. This is somebody with a lot of experience who has really put the work in to relationships and to marriage, and you can always tell by their fruit. And I'm always so blessed when he takes the time to invest a conversation with me. And on the business side of things, he's been in real estate for about 15 years, and he's been a professional speaker for right around 10. His mission is to help people find, follow, and fulfill their dreams. And he does that all through the lens of faith, and builds his house on solid rock, which I know and I call Jesus Christ, and I know he does as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage my man, David B.
Trevor,
Hughes.
so glad to be here,
What's
man.
up,
Thank you so
man?
much for having me, and I'm pumped for this session and this time together, man.
Absolutely. I'm super excited. I mean, legit, every time we have a conversation, I'm walking away like, man, I can go apply that now. And I did. Literally, the last time I saw you in person, we were down in Scottsdale, Arizona, and we probably talked for about an hour on marriage and some of the things that we were working through because you had already worked through them in your own. And I went back to my room, and Lane and I implemented something that has shifted our marriage for the better in such an impactful way. We started meeting every single morning and talking about where we're at. Hey, how are you doing? How am I doing? And that now it's a habit. Every single day we do that. And it really put us on track, man. And I owe that to, you and the work that you've done and what God's done in your life. So for that, I just wanted to say thank you.
Well, you're so welcome, man. I'll never forget that conversation. It was really powerful and it was awesome. And it was a conversation that most people probably might not ever hear or know about or become aware of in life. And that's why I think most marriages are either mediocre or miserable, or maybe a little above, maybe above average, maybe good, but far from great, amazing, thrilling, flourishing. I mean, which to me, that should be the norm, right? According to God's plan. But I can say that 9 years in and throughout the 9 years, that marriage has been and still is and will continue to be. Our marriage is far more amazing than I ever knew marriage could be. But that's not because God loves me or because I got lucky with the right one. It's not because those things, yes, are true. God loves me, He loves everyone. It's about us partnering with the principles and processes and us committing and keeping it a priority to invest with intentionality consistently into ourselves and into each other and into the marriage with the right boundaries, the right communication, the right humility to learn and grow and adapt and change as we go. And it's the most thrilling, amazing thing when we just get out of our own way, and it's a flow of adventure, thrill, amazing intimacy, fun, fulfillment, just incredible things that God has available and has designed marriage to be. Sadly, most people live far less than that reality in their marriage, but that can all change. So if you're listening to this, no matter where you're at, maybe you're not married yet, this is important for you to know going into a marriage in the future, and waiting for God's one and letting Him lead you to the right one. Or if you're in a marriage that's mediocre or miserable, or maybe it's average or you feel like it's good, but it's definitely not amazing and thrilling, and you can't say that same thing, right? Like, man, my marriage is far more amazing than I ever knew marriage could be. That can be your reality. So I just want all the listeners to hear, each listener, whoever's listening to this right now, that can be their reality, and in a relatively short amount of time, right? It does take two willing humans to want that, commit to it, and consistently invest. But yeah, man. And one other thing I want to say to your intro, and thank you for the kind words, is that, like, to me, true wealth and prosperity and true success is the abundant life holistically, not in part. Not you're vibrant in your physical health, but you're bankrupt in your marriage or in your mind or emotions or spiritually, or financially. You're on a survival hamster wheel. You're in survival mode, not in thriving mode where there's an overflow. You're blessed to be a blessing and to make impact and to give abundantly like you want to. That's all available to any person. It's all in the book, the greatest success book of all time, the Bible. It's all in there. The promises, that when we plug into the principles and processes, it produces the promises of God. It actually produces
Bang.
the promises of God perfectly and perpetually for every person who simply positions himself or herself in alignment and in agreement with what he says about you, who he says he made you to be, what he says about you, what he says he has for you. But so many times we're damming up the flow, right? We're in our own way because we're not in alignment with his principles and processes that produce those promises. What are those promises? Exceedingly abundantly above anything you can ask, think, hope, or imagine. That's what it says. In your marriage, in your business, in living out your dreams. You think you're dreaming big, you think you got wild big dreams. He looks at that and smiles. God does. He's like, that's cute. I'm gonna do that times infinity. And that's what he's done in my life, in my marriage, in my businesses, in the relationships, friendships, and in my health journey, in the impact in other people's lives. I mean, it's so yeah, man. I'm gonna pause and back to you because you get me going already on this because we're talking about life. We're talking about the abundant life. John 10:10. You can read it right there.
That's
He
right.
didn't come just to give us forgiveness and life just enough or barely enough or someday in heaven. No, he came to give us life, the overflow life, the abundant life, the life that's multiplying and making a greater impact, and we're living greater unprecedented experiences. Man, that's who he is. That's what he does. I mean, think about it as a parent. If you're listening to this and you're a parent, do you want your children to experience a okay, decent, less than, mundane, average childhood and life? No. How much more so God, who loves you way more than you could ever love your child or yourself or anybody. And so, how much more so in Romans 8? You can read it right there. He didn't withhold, he gave his all, his best, his life. So, along with him, will he not also give us all good things? Yes. So that's the thing, man. It's life is meant to be lived as an abundant life. So I'm excited for us to shed light on that truth in this time together, man.
Absolutely, man. I mean, you're ready, and this is the kind of conversation that I want to have. Somebody who's ready at the gate. I mean, you can obviously tell how passionate you are about this, and some of the things that you said that stuck out to me reminded me of something that I was listening to, a sermon I was listening to, where he was talking about the difference between dreams and destiny. God gives us dreams, and He gives us a glimpse, right, of what greatness can look like, what perfection can look like, what these amazing, abundant things in every area of our life can look like. But he sees the destiny. He sees the big picture of everything that we could possibly come into and step into the greatness, the top of the top. It doesn't get any better than that. And man, that's what happens when we step in and start operating from a place of, it's not just about me. It's about God. Like you guys say, you and your wife, Katie Marie, say, let's make God famous, making God famous and loving and serving others. So, speaking of principles, processes, and consistency, you're a real estate investor, you're a business owner, you've been doing it for about 15 years. What were you doing 15 years ago, right before you got into getting started in real estate? And what was the catalyst that got you to pull the trigger and enter into that new space?
Great question. So I wanna precede, if that's the right word here, that question with this context before answering it, because the listener, whoever you are listening to this right now, everybody wants to go somewhere, right? Don't want to stay in the same place. Hopefully, you don't want to just stay in the same place, same person, same place, same life experience. You want to be growing, right? New experiences, new growth. But I want you to ask yourself this question: to go from where you're at today in your finances, in your life experiences, and who you are as a person, to go from where you're at right now to where you want to be, dream to be, aspire to be. What vehicle are you in now? And will it take you there? And if so, how long will it take you to get there? Another question is, what vehicle would be a better vehicle to be in to take you there financially, in your health, in your marriage, whatever your aspirations? What vehicle are you in today? Let's just talk financially because that's what you hit on real estate. So, financially, what vehicle are you in? And that's where I was at. I looked at it and I was like, okay, before real estate, I have a bachelor's degree and master's degree, of which I use neither. It's been the life professors that's made all the difference in my life, the mentors, the coaches, that just like this sessions, people speaking in that had knowledge I didn't have, had experience in fruit and abundance. So I applaud all of you all that are listening to this, taking time to invest in yourself to listen to this amazing podcast that Trevor puts out. So thank you, Trevor, for all you do. And also, before I say this, here's the other question. Not only what vehicle are you in, who's in the vehicle with you? Are you by yourself trying to pilot this vehicle from where you're at? Or do you have a master pilot, whether it's a coach, a mentor, a spouse, whoever that is? Those have been the two biggest things. Real estate's just the vehicle. So that's where it started for me is I was looking for a vehicle. To answer your question, like that's the short, like I was looking for a vehicle to get me from where I was at to where, which was basically zero, right? And I was around a bunch of people who were trading time for money. They weren't living their dreams. They weren't financially free. So, but I wanted that. And I knew there were people out there who had that. So the journey for me just started with the decision to seek that out. Seek and you'll find. I mean, there's the answer right there, right? That's the master key. Whether you're seeking financial freedom, whether you're seeking a breakthrough, whatever it is, seek and you will find. So for me, I wanted financial freedom, financial abundance, to live life full time and live life full time with my future spouse and children so that I could be fully present with them, helping them live their dreams with no limits. So because of that decision, that one decision to become financially free, it directed my daily decisions, which propelled me to becoming financially free relatively quickly. And that's the one thing people miss is if you make the one decision right now, when you're listening to this, if you make a true, full commit, a real decision to be financially free, and it's a real decision, just like when I made the decision to give my life to Christ and for the rest of my life, it wasn't a decision until it becomes too inconvenient or too uncomfortable or no, it was I'm just like when I got married. I gave her my full yes. Same thing here. When I decided to become financially free, I had no idea at that point it was going to be real estate. I didn't know how. I didn't know, but you don't need to know how to make that decision. And more importantly, you need the who, right? So that's what I started seeking out, which became who and who's in my life that already had the knowledge. They already had the how. I just needed to yoke up, hitch my wagon to them. And that's what accelerated me. Now, real estate ended up being the vehicle that got me relatively quickly forever financially free. And it can be the vehicle for anybody, just like, business, real estate, and other things can be. But real estate is one of the most proven, if not the most proven out there as far as the longest track record, the most amount of people going from nothing to financially free and multimillionaires. So that's the same thing here. It's like, what vehicle are you in? Who are you in it? Who's in it with you? And that's going to determine how quickly you get to your desired destination and in what manner and fashion and what the experience is like for you in the journey and the process to a great degree. So yeah.
Wow.
And I don't
And
know if I answered that just
I
to hit
mean,
it.
that's
What led me to real estate was just books. I read a couple of books, Rags to Riches by Russ Whitney years ago, and Real Estate Riches. So that's where I started. I was in a Barnes and Noble. I was looking around at business success books, finances, and I was drawn to those books, and it really clicked with me because it was so simple. What they were saying in the books was like so simple. It's third grade level stuff. Anybody can do this. Like acquire properties with no money out of pocket, no credit, you know, and step into an ownership position to where these properties propel you financially because you're in an ownership position, even if you didn't literally put a single dollar out of your pocket, any of your credit or money. And so yeah, I just saw that it was a viable vehicle to accomplish what I wanted to in the shortest amount of time.
yeah. No, I think that's huge. I think that's such a key principle. I mean, of course, it's biblical. Seek and you shall find. If you go out looking for it, you're certainly going to find it. And you went out looking for books. I was doing the same thing. And I think so many other people in real estate, in business, who go through that transformative process, they're looking for something more. They realize the point in my life, the pain of change is less than the pain of staying the same now. So I'm going to go and take action, and that action can be as simple as seeking, picking up something, and you never know what God is going to put in front of your face. And another thing that you said that's so critical, and a big thing we talk about here on the show, every episode I've done, every guest I've brought on, we talk about mentorship, finding the who's in your life that have gone through the challenges, just like we talked about marriage at the very beginning of this. Who are the who's in your life that are living the life that you'd want to aspire to? And how do you add value to those people and then grab on to the experiences and the things that they've already done? So, what did those mentors look like in your life? And how did they make such an impact for you to get to where you're at now, where you're financially free and doing a number of different things in business?
100%, man. And the word is leverage, right? I mean, that's how you collapse time on itself. You're able to take and get downloads from somebody who has spent decades gaining a painful price, a heavy price that they've paid to get that wisdom, knowledge, understanding, insight, strategies in marriage or in business or in real estate or whatever it is, that you can literally in days get in minutes in one day get downloaded decades of their extract, that
Right.
potent extract drops that are the most powerful points, lessons learned. I mean, you just can't, to me, there's no other way to live life if you want to live life for real and fully than having mentors constantly. I've always have had coaches and mentors, do now, always will, because if you don't, I'm convinced if you do not have at least one, you need really multiple mentors and coaches in your life, but at least one in each area of your life, right? Or in whatever areas you're serious about living abundantly. If you don't have at least one, and you don't have to have more than one, but have at least one right mentor, then I'm convinced you will 100% live far less than your potential, your God designed potential. You'll just live far less than your potential and what's available to you that you wouldn't be aware of otherwise. And so it's massive leverage. So we have multiple mentors now. We always have, always will. And what that looked like for me was starting out, financially was the big one because I was single. I was, just starting out and I was starting from ground zero. And, I'd grown up in a household that had amazing parents and siblings in terms of faith in God and like, you know, love and that side of things. But financially, it was really bad. My dad, battled depression and extreme bipolar through the years, 30 years of marriage, where he actually ended up taking his life. And my parents, my mom was waiting tables, trying to keep food on the table. And it was a very, in the area of finances, it was lack, stress, strain, struggle in the around finances and money. So that was the reality and the experience for me growing up. So growing up that way and having that reality and that profoundly painful experience around money and the reality and the stress in the household and the marriage that I saw, it even propelled me even more to have a deep why and desire to want to live on the other side of money, right? It's like a lot of people can tell you what they don't want, but very few people can tell you with concise and crystal clear clarity what they want in life, in a marriage, in their life design. So because of that, most people never live their dreams because they don't even know what they want. So it all starts there. For me, I knew specifically I want to live on the other side of money. Not only do I want to, I decide to. Money, and here was the decision I made. Money's going to work for me. I'm not going to work for money. I had no idea how, didn't know it was going to be real estate, didn't know. I was literally living I got out of college. I was living in my mom and dad's garage, remodeled into a bedroom. And I drew on a whiteboard a visual illustration of that decision that money is going to work for me. It was a circle with me in the middle, and then circle money like a wagon spokes with like a wagon wheel with money, streams of income, rivers of revenue, money. I'm coachable and teachable enough and hungry enough and committed enough, then that can be me or anybody. And so it did. It happened relatively quickly because when I made that decision, what you focus on, you attract into your life. So if you focus on financial freedom or whatever you focus on, you attract. So even my wife, that's not my dream girl, she's my beyond all my dreams girl. How did I attract her into my life? I literally have a list, seven page single space list to God of all my dream attributes. He brought her. She's everything on the list and times infinity. I focused. I had a vision. I made the vision plain. I wrote it down. My greatest desires and dreams for a future spouse. What I focused on, I literally attracted into my life. But here's the other side of the coin that's important. People hear that and they run with it and wonder why it doesn't work for them, because you got to have the other side of the coin. Truth is a two-edged sword. There's two sides. There's two sides of the coin, two sides of the sword. Truth
Right.
is a sword that's two-edged. The other side is I had to do my part. So I focused on this desired dream spouse. But what that meant was what was required of me to become the spouse to actually match with that spouse. I gave a list to God, and you know what He did? He had a list for me of instructions of what I needed to be growing and learning and shifting and still forever. So that's important. And so what that looked like for me with mentors was, because I made that decision to become financially free, that was my filter. Now all of a sudden it directed my daily decisions. Who should I be spending time with? Are they in alignment of helping me move in that direction, or are they holding me back from moving to that? So all of a sudden there's a fine filter on your life that makes it easy and fast for you to move forward, because you don't have to sit here wondering, waiting, praying, wishing, thinking, what do I do this? Do I go here? Do I do? No, you already made one decision. That decision puts a fine filter on your life, on how you allocate your minutes every day, your thoughts, what books you read or don't read, what people, what conversations you're involved in, where you're going. Because now you have a clear
Right.
destination, a desired destination, puts you in the narrow path. Most people never even start that. That's why it's a narrow path. The Bible talks about that there's a narrow path. Few ever find the path to life. It's a very narrow path. Wide and broad is the path to destruction. Many people go that way. Destruction in their marriage, their health, their finances, every destruction. It's a narrow path because you got to focus, put the filters in place, and be
Yeah.
diligent and disciplined enough and committed enough to just start walking one step in front of the other, one day at a time, and you'll be blown away by where it leads to and how quickly you can. And so then all of a sudden, here's this person who has the knowledge, is already financially free. People think there's some secret silver bullet. No, it's this stuff. It's simple. And I want to also say this, Trevor, because a lot of people hear you and me and people like this, successful people talk about this, and they're like, "Oh man," and they disqualify themselves. If you're listening to this right now and you feel you're like, "Oh, you guys just probably have more discipline, self-discipline than me, or motivation or inspiration." No, listen, I'm telling you, no. The answer is no. You listen to this right now. You are already more than discipline. You already have more than enough discipline, self-discipline, to step into financial freedom, abundance, marriage, whatever it is that you want to live, that you're not living incredible abundance in. I'll prove it to you. If you don't believe me, I'm prove it to you right now. You are incredibly disciplined at brushing your teeth every day, aren't you? At feeding yourself, at driving yourself to
Hopefully.
your job, at paying your bills. I can go on, right? Yes or no? Do you do it every day? Bathing yourself, taking a shower. However often you do these things, you do them almost effortlessly without. Why? You are disciplined in these things. The thing is, you've been conditioned most of your life to be disciplined in things that keep you living a limited life, trading time for money and living small, not living your dreams. And all you have to do is make a simple shift, apply discipline, even a portion of the discipline that you're disciplined over here, and all these things that you do, watch TV and veg out and click the button, these things that you're already disciplined and habitually doing, that you because you've been programmed to do that, or you've programmed yourself to do that. All you got to do is click the button, change the channel, change the programming, change the program, and just apply the direction of your discipline in reading the books, in being in here in these podcasts with Trevor, in being around people. You just simply you apply the discipline, even less than the level of discipline you already have, into the things you need to be actually doing, the activities that will move you the right vehicle in the right direction, the right people to the promised land. So that was what it was,
Bang.
man. That's what it looks like for
And
me. It became one coach
in
and mentor after the next into real estate and business and sales and so and that's what continues to do the multiplication, right? It's the same thing. It's just the same thing. It's the same process.
yeah. And one of the things that popped out to me as you're kind of going through this is without decisions, you can't live out your vision. You can't even form the vision if you're not making decisions. You made a number of decisions. You decided to make a list about the spouse that you wanted to bring into your life. But God said you got to do these things inside of you first before you're going to be ready to receive her. Because what's huge right now, you're talking about it, manifestation. I want to manifest this into my life. But even if you got the thing, and some people do get the thing, they're not in a place internally to steward what's been brought into their life. And then we destroy it. You'll destroy what comes into your life if you're not ready to steward it, if you're not making the decisions that would be congruent with somebody who operates at that level. And that core value thing that you mentioned, everything filters through the core value. I just did an exercise because I was out in St. Louis for what's called the Business Vision Workshop. And it was incredibly impactful because he talks about this, what we're talking about right now, building out a vision, building a business that your life doesn't work around, but a business that works around your life. And we did this exercise that was a core value exercise. There was probably 100 words on a page. And the key was to pick five core values. And then after we picked five, we were instructed to pick three. And after we picked three, we were instructed to keep just one of those. And that one that you picked is now the filter that all decisions should be filtered through. Because when we're talking about decisions right now, if you make decisions based on that core value, you will move in the right direction, regardless of what decision you make, whether it's yes or no, or whether it's not now, because it's filtered through. The lens for me was faith. As long as I'm making decisions based on my core value of faith and things align with that, whether I say yes or no, I'm going to be moving in the right direction. And whether you're in the pits and you're just really struggling right now, or you're doing really well in a number of areas of your life, but maybe some areas just need some tuning and some tweaking. Getting down to, hey, let's go back to those core values. Maybe you've already picked them. Go back to that core value and start filtering. Are the decisions that I'm making right now continuing to move the ball forward in the path that I actually want to move in? And when we allow the world, when we allow social media, when we allow the opinions of others, when we allow the negativity of others to start seeping in and planting seeds in our mind, and we get away from the core values, that's when we start to get off track. And that's when we start to make decisions to turn on the TV more often, spend our money on things that don't matter, exactly what you're talking about right now. And then we make decisions based on things that we don't even care about because somebody else put that thought in our mind in the first place. And, you talked about some of the challenges, growing up, there was a number of areas that were going really well, but in the area of finance, you had to start making those decisions to start putting the pieces back together. And it seems like through that process, you got really locked into personal development, building out that vision. Like you started with, hey, this rivers of revenue are coming to me, streams of income, they're coming to me. How did you apply that to other areas of your life? Whether it was continuing along the track of revenue, whether it was in your marriage, I'm talking more in terms of building out the vision. Okay, the David B. Hughes 1 year, 3 year, 5 years from now, how did you start to build out the vision for that?
Man, you're awesome, Trevor, by the way, and I just love you, man. And your questions are phenomenal. Because this is the stuff that people are missing in their life right here. This is the bottom line, right? I mean, you think about it. We spent a lot of our waking hours in school for all these years and didn't learn the real essentials of life, in my opinion, right? Like health, relationships, and finances. So then we look at the result of that system: broken lives, lack, survival mode, not people living their dreams, their wildest dreams. I mean, how many people can you look around and go survey and find they're like, man, I never knew life could be this amazing. I'm living beyond what I ever dreamed. Very few, even though to me, that should be the normal life. That should be the majority. But it's because of these truths that people got to get, and then they got to internalize them and live it. So, to your question, what that looks like building out the vision, it's an ongoing evolution, right? So I can tell you then until now, but now moving forward, because that's an ongoing evolution, right? So because here's the thing, like if you want to expand your vision, get around bigger visionaries. The biggest visionary, God. So the other question is, how much time are you spending alone with him? The greatest leader, the greatest, most successful person in every area of life of all time, Jesus himself, what did he do? He often got away from people. He often withdrew to lonely places to be alone with the Heavenly Father, his Father and Creator, to stay clear and committed and on his unique mission and assignment for his life. That's where everywhere he went, you know what was manifested? Abundance. Because he was in alignment with his assignment and he didn't let people sway him or persuade him or influence him off of his unique personal assignment and mission. And the same is for you. If you don't have boundaries in place, if you care about people's opinions, and then you're just wandering around in a very low level life relative to your God-given potential. And so, how do you break out of that and unplug from the matrix? It's what you're talking about, man. Getting a clear and compelling vision for your life that's unique and unprecedented, because you're unique and unprecedented. Just look at your fingerprints, your toe prints, your eye. I mean, God's making it clear, like he broke the mold when he made you. And here's the awesome part, is that he does the heavy lifting. All we got to do is get out of our own way. And so with the vision part, what does it say? The greatest success book of all time says that people perish for a lack of vision, a lack of knowledge, and a lack of vision. Well, when I hear the word perish, what I think of, I consider perish anything less than prospering perishing in your marriage, perishing in your health, perishing in your purpose. If you're not living your purpose, you're perishing. In my mind, in my perspective on perishing, I'm perishing if I'm not producing fruit in that area of life. Now, it doesn't mean, now we go through seasons, like you said, pruning, right? Process. But overall, like the Bible says, every year of your life, it says, will be more and more fruitful. Now, in the meantime, in the slivers of time, yes, there's pruning and all that, but it's ongoing multiplication of more. Now, the vision, though, the more I was around visionaries that stretched my thinking, enlarged my thinking, I got to see their visions and make it my own, things that I took, pieces that I took, financial freedom, how I wanted to live life personally, the impact I want to make on people, how I want to impact people, how I want to set people free financially. You got to first be free to set somebody else free, right? In that area of life. If it's addiction or financial freedom or bondage or limitations, whatever it is, you first got to become free. How are you going to set anybody free if you're in shackles yourself in that area of life, right? So the beauty and the excitement of you getting free in life, financially and in whatever way, all the ways, is that you now become a freedom conduit. You now, everywhere you go, you unlock and unleash people and give them freedom because you already have the keys, because you've applied the key. You become a key for their life. Jesus is the master key. He's made us to be keys. And now the vision, you got to write it down. So you all are listening to this today. We're talking about decisions, but I would say if you don't already have if you couldn't tell us in an elevator in 30 seconds, your clear and compelling, passionate vision for your life, then that's your decision today. Decide to get alone, spend time, pray, ask God to help you, and take time with yourself to dig inside and what lights you up, what gets you excited, what are you passionate about? What would be, if we could flip a switch and all the limits were gone and you could live whatever life and impact and experiences and be whoever What does that look like? Spend time fleshing that out and describing it and make the decision to do that. That's your step right now. If you're not clear on that yet, you have to do that before any of this other fruit can show up in your life and manifest like Trevor's talking about. Here's a practical, powerful leverage. Leverage pain, right? Trevor talked about that. We've all gone through things, but let me give you a compounded key. Leverage past pain, your present pain, and future pain if you don't become all that you're meant to be, and if you don't live your dreams of not getting the quality time with your spouse, missing the most important moments of your children's life, not being there for them fully with energy and vitality and having the time to be present with them because you're trying to pay bills and survive and whatever. No. What past pain have you experienced in your life up until now in all the different ways? What pain are you experiencing right now? What are those pain points that maybe you're avoiding or you're numbing out by other things because entertainment, drugs, alcohol, people, because you don't want to face yourself? No, I'm telling you, stop and get in that. Go deep, immerse yourself, get baptized in the pain of your past pain, all of it, your present pain, all of it, and then add this into the mix. If I don't start, instead of avoiding it and running from it, from the past, present, and leverage the future pain every day. Write it down and set in it. Spend time feeling the pain emotionally and physically of if you don't do the thing today that you know and you told yourself and you told your spouse, you told your future self that you know you should be doing. Not the big things, the little simple steps compounded over time. If you don't think about that pain, the more compounded pain in the future of having to say no to your child, you can't be there for them or provide this thing for them or their dreams because you're not doing what's necessary for you to be who you're supposed to be. Not in a condemning way. That's the enemy. That's not the love of the Heavenly Father. The encouragement is leverage that pain to propel you into a new level of action and committed motivation and inspiration, moving in that direction of that pleasured place of the promised land and what God has His promises for you.
David, I mean, because if you don't do this, right? If you're not doing what you're talking about, if we're going and we're avoiding pain, and then we get online and we listen to people who, like you mentioned, are not healed, but they're trying to tell people how to get back on track in these certain areas of life. We're avoiding pain, and then we go listen to people who don't know how to properly handle this area of life. We get all twisted up. We get all types of confused because there's so much conflicting information out there because there's people who don't really know what they're talking about who are going to influence us. So being very careful about who we allow to influence our lives. If and this is one of the things that I did when I had a massive mindset shift. The pain of staying the same was greater than the pain of change. So I made a shift and I got rid of everything, every bit of social media. I no longer turned on my TV unless it was to watch YouTube, and I was very selective about the people I was allowing to influence me. The majority of the time, I was either reading my Bible or reading things like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Simple Path to Wealth, the ABCs of real estate investing. Get rid of all these gurus, get rid of all these people who are not being if you filter them through your core value. Does this person have the life of someone that I aspire to be? Because it's really easy to see one layer on social media. But if you go 1, 2, 3, 4 layers deep, which we don't get the opportunity to do, you might find some things about that person that won't align with your core value. I'm not saying don't watch them. I'm not saying that there's not good things out there. What I'm saying is be very, very selective, especially with people that you can actually build a relationship with, like yourself, David. You are someone that I view as a mentor. I know that if I have something that I want to work on, get better in, or I'm having challenges with in my marriage, in my business, man, you're somebody that I can call on. And I know some intimate details about your life. And I know that you are somebody that I aspire to be like in multiple areas of life. So that's just an encouragement for anybody who's listening, which is just be selective about who you allow to influence you because they might not be the person that you think that they are. And you talk a lot about, the personal growth, the personal development side of things. And of course, what we're weaving in and out of the conversation is faith in the Lord. And how has your faith, I mean, I know that this is kind of a broad question, but I'm really curious at what your answer is. How would you say that your faith has impacted your business?
Beyond description, explanation, and I mean infinitely, infinitely. Um, it's heaven on earth. People, in the Christian faith, people who most, I think, a problematic belief in so-called Christians, people who say they're a follower of Christ, their perspective is that someday in the sweet by and by when I die, I get to go be in heaven. But Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is right here, right now. We're to be living in the kingdom of God, living a kingdom life, an abundant life, an unprecedented, amazing, miraculous life right here, right now. So, you know, when I think about, again, our marriage being 9 years in and beyond, more amazing than I ever knew it could be. This is a literally out of this world marriage. Man can't make it. The greatest counselors, psychologists trying to tell you the principles of marriage, they can't make this. They've never seen it. They can't even, matter of fact, we did opposite of what they would say. We committed our lives to each other the fifth night on the phone. We never even saw, no video chat. Talk about supernatural, unprecedented, miraculous, heaven on earth, mind blowing, jaw dropping, eyes bug out story. That's the normal life for the true follower that's really in real relationship, close relationship with the Lord daily. And I miss steps all along the way. I'm not saying I've got it figured out. I don't. But I know enough to know I need him more than I know that I need him. I need him more than I realize every day and every moment. But that keeps me humble and hungry enough to be like, Lord, hey, I need more love and patience for myself, my spouse, my family, and others. Like staying connected to him. But our marriage, fifth night on the phone, commit our lives to each other, said we're getting married. No video chat. Proposed to her 40 minutes after meeting her in person for the first time ever, married 19 days later after meeting in person, and we've been dating ever since for the last 9 years on a lifelong honeymoon. Now, there's never been a story like that, never will be. We're making a documentary and a book. Why? Because when you're with God, your life, everything about your life, every area of your life will be unprecedented. It will be mind blowing. It will blow everything out of the water. Why? So that you'll have a testimony substantial enough and powerful enough to captivate the hearts and minds of people for them to lean in and pay attention and listen to something you're going to say after that, and for them to open up. And then we get to say, this was the Lord, and this is what it meant for us to do our part and walk it out. And what it still means for us on a daily basis in our marriage. Because it's one thing to get him to bring us together in the most amazing, mind-blowing, miraculous way. That was just the beginning. Then it goes back to what you said, Trevor, stewarding that and handling the gift and being able to invest in it in an ongoing way so it continues to stay amazing, grow more and more amazing and fruitful and abundant and not die and deteriorate. So, man, my faith in him, my relationship with him, it's everything in our marriage, in our businesses, in our life. I mean, I don't want to know where I would be without him. If I wasn't in a relationship with him through these years and on an ongoing basis, man, there's no hope apart from him. Anything else is false hope. It's fake hope.
Yeah.
It's a facade. It's fake, false facade. He's the way, the truth, and the life. And you know, that's the bottom line, man.
Yeah. And one of the most amazing things about having a relationship with Jesus is that it's a unique relationship. Every person has, a different way that Jesus speaks to them, that the Holy Spirit speaks to them, that they interact with the Lord, how they share time with the Lord, how the Lord speaks to them. And, I know that you've invested a lot of time working on yourself, working on your marriage, working with other people on finding their unique value. And I think in a world where so many people are in this comparison negative feedback loop, constantly looking at the next guy or gal and saying, well, I want to do what they're doing because they have X, Y, or Z. And that's really where it ends. So we start chasing these things rather than hey, there's a few things that I like about what this person's doing. I like what this person's doing, but I'm on my unique path. I have a very specific mission and vision and purpose. So how do you help people find and live out their unique value?
Love it, man. Number one, it goes back to what we were just talking about. This is a perfect lead in. So, apart from a personal relationship with God in Christ Jesus, it will never be. You will never know. You will never be able to come close to becoming aware and discovering who that unique you inside of you is, that the creator that knit you together in your mother's womb put inside you to become. It's like the oak tree. Where did God hide the oak tree? Do you all ever think about that? Where did he hide the oak tree? In an acorn. But actually, he hid infinite forests. That's life. What does that mean for you? It means there's infinite forest of trees inside of you that you're completely unaware of. And only through the divine, only through you being planted and rooted in Christ. It's like this tree out here. So we live in basically the Garden of Eden, tropical paradise down here in Florida. So our neighborhood is filled with tropical mango trees, all this stuff. These trees are not breaking a sweat to produce fruit. They're not grinding, they're not striving, they're not even breaking a sweat. But the result is ongoing abundance and multiplication of amazing fruit, the most amazing mangoes you ever tasted, and so on and so forth. But what I've learned is what nature is speaking to us all day, every day, that God put here as one of the many messages is, look, what is that tree doing right? It's just being planted in the right environment, in the right place. If you take that tropical tree to the northern cold states or Antarctica, it's going to die and wither, never produce any fruit that it was already destined and meant to. It was in the wrong environment. That for you, that could be around the wrong people. It could be the wrong mindset, mentality, the wrong thoughts you're in agreement with. That's not in alignment with the truth. The internal environment, the external environment, that's in your control. You get to choose what environment you put your mind in, what you allow in, where you put yourself. Now, but if you choose that one thing, well, the fruitfulness and the abundance is gonna do its part that you can't do. That becomes where you become aware of this person inside of you that was always there, but was never unlocked and unleashed until you nurture and cultivate and get out of the way and put yourself in the right environment. We're like, show that's never been seen. That's what happens. So that's the number one thing is how do you find and follow and fulfill your greatest purpose and destiny and the highest life that's available that God put you here to live? It's only in the Most High. There's no high like the Most High. You got to get in personal relationship with Him. If you don't, then you just continue trying to fill that void with more fame, attention, money, people, entertainment. It will never, that void inside there is a God shaped, God sized hole that until there's a personal relationship with Him, number one, you'll never feel it. Number two, you'll never meet the most amazing version of yourself that you've never even known you could even be and experience. It's beyond, it's God made. It's God made. But He's inviting each of us, He invites us daily into that discovery process of self-awareness in an ongoing lifelong journey, which is the most amazing journey. People can tell you about God. Oh, He's
And
love, He's this, He's that. Okay, that might have some kind of cognizant, like conscious thought. It's a whole other thing when you have the most real, tangible, life transforming experience. And I wrote this down, Trevor. You were talking about who you let speak in your life. Now, and this is the cool thing. After the core relationship is with Him, that's the answer. And now you have that fine filter where He brings people into your life to help you, right? And you're going to gain, as you're seeking God and as you're finding out who you are and you're going through this journey, you're going to get more and more clarity through that evolution of what your unique design and purpose and passion and calling and dreams are. And you're just going to keep walking in that direction. And He's going to keep doing the heavy lifting. He's going to keep putting people in your path to help you, to show you things, and to give you pieces of that puzzle, the puzzle of your life. That's an unprecedented puzzle that this world will stand in awe and amazement about the stories of you. You know how in the Bible isn't a book. Did you know that? The Bible. I'm going to make a post. I wrote this down in my note the other day that the Bible does not have the answers for all the answers for you in your life. Does the Bible tell you who to marry? Does the Bible tell you where to move? Does the Bible tell you where to work? Does the Bible tell you what job to get? Does the Bible? That's where the personal
That's right.
relationship comes in. Am I discounting the Bible? No, absolutely not. The Bible is there for what God made the Bible to be. We need to learn that. We need to spend time in it. We need to gain His promises, His love letter to us, His 66 book love letter, principles, processes, promises. It's amazing. But if you stop there, you'll be a dead religious person with a head knowledge of thinking you know something about
Mm.
God, and you will not be in an intimate, spirit-filled, amazing relationship with God, which that's the whole point of why He came and died and gave His life, so you can be in that personal relationship where you, like Trevor said, you can hear from Him daily, ask Him, and He's going to show you who to marry. He's going to show you what steps to take. He's going to show you these things that a Bible verse is not going to tell you that step. It'll be confirmed and backed up by the Bible, like, hey, bad company corrupts good character. That's telling you don't hang out with this person, right, in another way, because that's bad company. But specifically, and the last thing I wanted to say about that, and anything else you want to wrap with, man, you talked about who you allow to speak into your life. You guys, this is so huge. If this is the only thing that you get out of this, I mean, there's so many things in this, but I pray there are so many people that you give the microphone into your life to. You give them the microphone to speak into your life, speaking, and you listen to their opinions, their thoughts, what they project into your life based on their experiences, which are totally different than what your life's. But here's the key. Whenever you buy someone's opinion, when you buy into it, you just bought their lifestyle. Always remember that. In their marriage, their health, their financial situation, might be the person that loves you the most. I'm just telling you right now, if you listen to their advice for you and what to do with money, what decisions to make, and they don't have an abundance of money, like they might be the most amazing person loving you, but I'm telling you, the people's opinions that you buy into, you just bought their lifestyle in financially, their state of being, mentally, emotionally, relationally. Like, so when you're filtering who do you allow to really speak into your heart and your mind, like Trevor said, take inventory and be accountable to those sources. Consider the source, right? Is this a source? This person has fruit, and there's a big difference in experiential knowledge and in everything else, which is opinions, theories, beliefs, all that other nonsense. A lot of times, experiential knowledge, that's like experiential knowledge. I did this.
It don't get no
This
better than
happened.
that.
Yeah, this is as solid. Like this is solid. Everything else, the
Yeah.
opinions and man, the beliefs. So anyway,
No, that's good, man. And I love that reference to the acorn. That there's an infinite number of oak trees in the acorn. It reminded me of a quote I heard Myron Golden say. He said, "You can't count. You can count the number of seeds in an apple, but you can't count the number of apples in the seed." And that's such a powerful analogy when we put things out there. And of course, what we're talking about, which is there is an infinite number of possibilities and things that we can do in this life. Why would we settle for the mediocre ones? Why would we settle for the ones that other people want us to do? Because here's the thing, if we don't make decisions intentionally, we'll make decisions by default. And if we're making decisions by default, we've been programmed, somebody else has influenced us, and it's not for the best. It's not for our thriving. Unless we're really surrounded by people who are getting after, who are committed, because you are the average of the 5 people you share the most time with. If you make the decision to be surrounded with people who are committed to living an excellent life, to that are committed to their spouses and having that abundant, mind-blowing, eye-opening type of relationship with their spouse and the people that are around them, it's only a matter of time, but it still comes down to that decision. But really quick, David, can you just give us a glimpse into what you're working on right now? Where's your vision leading you right now? And where are some of your efforts going so people can just get a better understanding of what the day to day looks like, and maybe how they can connect with you further in the future.
total man. Again, thanks for having me. I love you and what you're doing, and anything I can ever do to with you and be a part and add value. I'm all about it. So appreciate you, man. So yeah, I mean, in our passion is for people is just to unlock and unleash as many people as possible to step into that limitless life. of hope, freedom, and abundance in every area of life, your health, relationships, finances. And the way we help people do that on a practical way and connecting with us and relationship and in what we've got going on, also in opportunities and ventures and partnerships. We own real estate. So we have properties that we own. That's a growing portfolio of properties. We have real estate education. So we have students around the country that we mentor and coach directly. That has been amazing, life transforming results for them. We've had our students have acquired millions and millions of dollars worth of income pumping real estate properties with no money out of their pocket, no credit. So we love that company, Simplified Investing, and what we do in people's lives through that. And then Loveco, which is just LOVECO.live, is our personal growth and development company. And we have an incredible alliance of top best in class leaders over there. Again, which is accomplishing the same purpose, helping people step into that limitless, abundant, overflow life in all areas of life. And we accomplish that through there. But as far as, I'd love to connect with anyone personally and directly through social media. So on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube channel we recently launched. We're so excited about because we're going to be sharing now for the first time ever all the things that the most valuable, powerful, the most things that create the most multiplication in our own lives and our businesses, health, real estate, finances, relationships, partnerships. We're going to be sharing all that for free in my YouTube channel. So I'm sure you'll drop the links in the description here or wherever you get it out, but it's just David
Absolutely.
Hughes. It's YouTube, I think /David Hughes official on the YouTube channel. But would love to engage with any of you all. Reach out on Facebook, Instagram, DMs, YouTube channel in there. We're active through those channels, those platforms, just to get out what's in us, what we've been given to give people to really for them to latch onto and lock into and tap into, and the levers we can hand them to pull to unlock those next levels of multiplication. Even if you're doing great today, you're listening to this and your life is the greatest it's ever been relative to the rest of your life and all the untapped potential, think about that, right? So stay hungry, stay humble, and man, stay childlike. That's the master's answer. He said the greatest in the kingdom are the children, the childlike ones with the endless curiosity, optimism, asking questions, learning, hungry, humble, just adventurous spirit to learn and grow and experience each other and life and impact. So that's what we're about, man. And those are the ways we do it through those channels. And we love to connect with anyone who's, is about any of those things.
Absolutely. Dude, this has been I got a page of notes here just from our conversation, which is, again, why I love talking with you so much and why I love the experiential knowledge that you bring to every conversation that you're a part of. Thank you so much for adding value to me and to the people listening. Man, I cannot wait to see what else you do and the amazing things that you and Katie Marie Hughes are going to do in your life. And I'm just blessed to be a part of it. So, with that being said, man, I can't wait to have you on again. And until next time.
Let's do it again. Until next time. Thanks, bro.